You're listening to Big Fight Week with me, Steve Bunce, on 5 Live. It's now fight night at the Emmy and it's 5:30. The sun's still out, and elsewhere in Manchester, thousands and thousands of people are watching the FA Cup semi-final live from Wembley between Manchester City and Manchester United. The streets are strangely deserted, other than various police riot vans, it has to be said. It was billed back in January as King Khan returns. Well, he certainly does. Now, it could be the last time the British fans get to see Khan before he returns to America for what Oscar de la Hoya, Golden Boy, calls mega fights, super fights, fights that generate an awful lot of money and an awful lot of pay-per-view revenue on both sides of the Atlantic. That's where Khan's going. I've been following the build-up all week, although the MEN tonight will be absolutely packed out, but it's certainly not been an easy journey from announcing the fight back in January to locking the doors here at the MEN in about, I don't know, 7 hours' time. And many people are wondering if all of the aggravation will have got to Khan, because he's heavily involved with his own promotion, and that's the way it should be as far as I'm concerned. If things have started to get to him, perhaps just made him a little bit weary, then that will help Derry man Paul McCloskey. He's unbeaten, and the bookmakers this week have been shrinking his odds slowly, day by day. One of the first fights to go on, and the reason I'm here at 5:30, is Sheffield heavyweight Richard Towers. It's a 6-round fight. I might be a little bit optimistic because he's facing one of Philip Fondu's guys, a guy called Ramen Sukaterin from Minsk in Belarus, who's managed to win 7, but he's also managed to lose 16. So at the back of the arena, when you go out to where the TV trucks are, there's the series of tunnels that lead to the different changing rooms. And as you walk down the corridors, the fighters' names are on the door. So Amir Khan, Paul McCloskey, Richard Towers, he's sharing with Kid Galahad. And we can see Richard Towers on his own, music up, just getting his head right, pacing from side to side. You all right, Kid? Yeah, good, you all right? All right, yes, I'm brilliant, brilliant. Nice and relaxed.
Long jab, Richard! That's a long jab! Slow down, slow footwork. Come on, back your side,
third round of the Towers fight, he's been in control from the start. To my left, Brendan Ingle, the great coach who had Nassim Hamid, John Ingle, his son, in the corner, Dominic Ingle, and 1 or 2 others from the Winkerbank gym.
You got to work in both sides.
Relaxing it really. There's about 15,500 empty seats, maybe 300 or 400 people in here. But then again, Man City and Manchester United is not finished yet. Meanwhile, back in the ring.
You're overreaching. Get your foot out in front of you. Not here. You're reaching over top. Get your foot out in front of what? Bing. Okay. Maybe comes at you.
Control it.
Good jab, Rich.
Beautiful, Rich. Come on, you've got to keep it going. Keep it in his face.
Right, so well done. Yeah, good. Yeah. Which that's number 10 now. Yeah. It seems to me that the thing with you is just to get rounds in.
Yeah,
it's frustrating.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Just need rounds.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I can only fight who's in front of me.
Cool.
And everything's working, and it's going to plan.
I've got to ask you about that tattoo.
Oh yeah, I think I got it done when I was 14. Basically.
9M.
9-matic.
9-matic. Yeah.
And
looks like a shoe rather than a gun, doesn't it?
Oh, do you know what I mean? An upside down shoe.
Upside down boot. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's all a work in progress.
Listen, you didn't put a foot wrong.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate that.
Enjoy the rest of the
pleasure
night.
every time.
Yeah, good, Amir. You okay? Yeah, we'll find you later on, eh?
Thanks, mate.
See you later on.
See you around.
See you, Taz. Well, that's Amir here, so that's 10-8. Both fighters inside the MEN. McCloskey shortly after half past, and then Amir there, 10-8. Michael Buffer coming in now. Hi, Michael.
Hello.
How are you? Good to see you.
We'll be about 30 seconds, Jim. Go front.
The main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBA Light-Welterweight Championship of the World. From Manchester, England, let's get ready to rumble!
McCloskey leans back, known for his defensive guile. McCloskey weaves underneath and goes forward with a couple of wild right hands. It's Khan with an uppercut and then a right hand to the side of the face of McCloskey. McCloskey, who just wipes away his eye, and it might well be that he's cut around by the side of the left eye. He's being looked at now by the ringside doctor. Long consultation going on here between the ringside doctor, the referee, and Paul McCloskey, and the referee waves it all over, and this could be uncomfortable here because Barry Hearn is being pushed back to McCloskey's own corner by his own son here. Barry Hearn is absolutely furious here. He thinks they've got the raw end of the deal.
All three judges scored the bout 60 to 54. The winner by technical unanimous decision, and still WBA light-welterweight champion of the world from Bolton, England, Amir Khan.
Minutes after the fight was over, I went to see the eye up close in McCloskey's changing room. I wanted to see how much damage had been done.
They stopped up with my towel in 2 seconds.
And that's what I just said. I said, look,
adrenaline,
Guy, stop that in about 10 seconds.
Yeah, with my towel, just with no adrenaline. And it's not even winning the danger area, it's with nose.
Something strange happened. The doctor came into the ring. Have you ever seen that ever in your life? I've never seen it ever. Or you go over to the corner, then there wasn't a shot. You first start, you go to your corner. I've never seen a doctor come into the ring.
But look what it is, it's a nose, isn't it? And head in the eyes, anyway.
What are you putting in there, doctor? About 3 or 4 stitches?
It's going to be about 5 or 6.
5 or 6. I think everyone was shocked.
And that was their plan, so it was make him look like a fool at the early rounds. Of course. And for us to take advantage of it. He was starting to tire himself.
He was exhausted after 4 rounds.
Could you tell he was a bit tired, Paul?
After 2 rounds.
So, Francis, we're going to try and call for a rematch?
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's throwing less punches as the fight was going on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course I do.
I felt he was tired that way. I can't really put on the words. It's hard to believe. I say the doctor told me the cut was bad, and I go over to the corner, and them boys are going ballistic. When they touch it with a towel, it disappears basically, you know. So
finally, Paul looks unhappy. All week he's looked happy, and finally, Eddie and Barry, he looks unhappy over there. First, you, Barry, I've been around you for 20 odd years. I've never seen you lose your cool like that.
I think every right, you know. I mean, Paul McCloskey's dreams were at stake. You know, this is what boxing's all about. At this level, it's a world title fight. You got one chance, and it was, you know, everything was going to plan. I'm not going to tell you that Paul McCloskey was going to win or whatever. I have no idea. We've all been robbed. I've also been around something around 3,000 or 4,000 fights in my career. I've seen lots of cuts. And believe me, and including the opinion of the grade A referees sitting around that ring, there was no way that fight can be stopped with a cut like that. No way at all. It was a disgraceful decision. The referee showed enormous amounts of ineptitude, whether it's the referee and the doctor or just the referee. Both of them should never be allowed near a boxing ring again.
And Ed, what can we do from here?
Well, we'll go away, we'll complain to the British Boxing Board of Control, who will complain to the WBA, but my gut feeling is that Amir Khan will leave the country and we'll probably never see him again.
Some serious levels of outrage in there. I mean, and Barry Hearn made a very interesting point when he said, I'm not claiming that Paul McCloskey would have won, but I wanted his cuts man to have a chance, and that, you cannot dispute that, that's beyond dispute, that he needed the chance. He needed to give him the opportunity to try and look at it. On the way to Amir's changing room, I bumped into his father, Shah. I could see from Amir's face when he left the ring, he was unhappy as some of the people there. Yeah. If it had been allowed to continue, he would have stopped him. But can you see at least a little bit of where McCloskey's coming from? Just
of course. I do.
One more round.
I do. I don't think he should have stopped it. In my opinion, I don't think he should have been stopped, to tell you the truth. But, you know, I wasn't close up. The doctor saw it close up, you know. But Amir was all 6 rounds up.
Oh, 6 rounds and in control, don't get me wrong. Yeah.
And why get the poor guy hurt?
That's one way of looking at it.
It would only got worse.
Yeah.
The cut would have got worse, no doubt. You know what I mean? I've got a lot of respect for Paul. I'll tell you straight. Good, awkward guy.
Yeah,
very awkward guy. And he made Amir work.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was any chance that Paul would have won or come back.
And no rematch.
You know something? I don't see. Maybe we can sit down and talk about it. You know something? But you know, we do have. Amir has got a lot of options there. Bigger things out there for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's try now. See if we can't get into the calm room. I imagine this will be a bit more difficult. Yeah, good. Well done. You know, tonight you're doing very well to stay calm.
Yeah.
What did you think when you clashed? What did you think?
You know, I remember it was a combination, and he come in with a combination, and we just had clashes, and I thought it was me, to be honest with you, got the cut. But to be honest with you, my head was not in front of my front foot. It was his head. Yeah. I mean, boxing is your front head shouldn't go in front of your front foot. Now, this is the art of boxing. I mean, he was all over the place in the fight. Don't get me wrong, it was very awkward, but to be in the fight, at times I got bored, and you know, Freddie had said to me, just stick to the game plan. We hurt him a few times in that round. And then when the doctor did come in the ring to say to him, "Are you fine?" I mean, he refused. He was okay. I mean, he said, "No, I'm not okay. I can't see." I mean, if that was me in his position, I would have said, "Look, I'm ready to fight."
Now, the fighter in you come. I mean, I've known you a long while now.
Yeah.
The fighter in you don't like winning like that, do you? That's
no, end of the day,
not your way of winning.
You know what? If it were another 1 or 2 more rounds, I think we would have won by a KO. And it always looks better when he says a KO on your medical card. But to be honest with you, a win's a win, and all the training paid off. We won every round in the fight. It's not like we was losing in the fight we was getting beat. I mean, it was just a game of, you know, I was just tapping him when I wanted, hitting him when I wanted. He was missing with a lot of shots. I mean, he was all over the place, to be honest with you.
You hurt him in that 6th round. He admitted that. He's
and
admitted
you know,
that.
Also it shows to me that European level and world class level, there's 2 big differences in there. One is you have to be a world class fighter to be in that stage, and secondly, you know, I give him that opportunity and he just couldn't. I mean, if it was a close fight, I put my hand up and say, listen, he is, but to be honest, it was so easy in that fight.
Finally then, Amir, because I know I'm taking your time before you're meant to meet the rest of the press. You can understand why he wanted at least the rest of the round to let the cornermen work on it. I mean, the fighter in you can understand that.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, he should have told the doctor that he wanted to fight.
He says he did. He says,
I mean, I could see. I mean, I was the closest guy next to him, and I could see everything he was saying, and he's nodding his head no. You know what I'm saying? If you look back at the video, he's nodding his head saying no, he doesn't want to. To me, it seems like he doesn't want to continue. I mean, if that was me, I would have been, you know,
pushing the ref out of the way.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. There was only 30 seconds or something left in the round, not much. So his corner would have done a job on him at least. But I think his heart went in the fight. I mean, he knew he was losing the fight. He was coming on to the next round. I mean, if it did go another 1 or 2 rounds, I think we would have knocked him out, to be honest with you.
Amir, thanks for your time this week. You've been brilliant this week. I really mean that.
Thank you.
Now, I've been in Amir's changing room when he's won his early fights, Commonwealth title, world title fights, when he was an amateur. And even when he got beat, that was obviously fairly glum. But you know, that today in there, that was amazing. It's like they'd lost. And I think all of them in there know, if the truth be told, that it's going to be difficult to turn their back on McCloskey. As much as I agree with what Amir said, that McCloskey hadn't won any of the completed 5 rounds and certainly wasn't winning the 6th round, he was still in there and he was still making Amir miss. And I could tell something from looking at Amir's face that I don't think he's particularly happy with that performance. But saying that, McCloskey didn't look particularly happy. He looked obviously sad and a bit glum that it had been called off. But I think he'll know also that perhaps he should have done a little bit more in that 5th round. Perhaps he could have stepped on it a bit more in some of the earlier rounds. It's a big perhaps. You only get the 1 chance. And it does look, as it fast approaches midnight, that will be remembered as McCloskey's only chance.